Obtaining a permit to work in the United Kingdom can be complicated. There are multiple permit types, called tiers. Whether you are applying for a long-term general work permit or a temporary work permit, you will need to meet the basic qualifications, get sponsorship from an employer or government, and take a test before you can apply for your permit. Method 1. Getting a general work permit. 1. Meet the basic qualifications. You will need to have a valid passport from your country, your birth certificate, proof of qualifications and references, copies of any previous work permits, and your entry visa. You must also have one of the following criteria: a UK degree-level qualification. This is essentially a degree from an accredited university or college. A higher national diploma qualification that relates to the work you are seeking. A higher national diploma that doesn't relate it to your employment with 1 year of full-time work experience that is relevant to your potential employment. A minimum of 3 years of experience using skills that apply to the position you are seeking. 2. Find an employer to sponsor you. Look online for positions open to foreign workers. Your potential employer must first have an employer sponsorship license that allows them to hire foreign workers. The employer must issue you a certificate of sponsorship that details the position you are being offered and how much you will be paid for your work. Your employer will need to advertise for the position and try to get an employee from within the European Economic Area (EEA) before they can sponsor a non-EEA worker. The employer does not have to advertise if the position is on the shortage occupation list. Once your potential employer has issued the certificate of sponsorship, you must apply for your work permit within 3 months. 3. Take the Tier 2 points-based eligibility test. You can take an unofficial test online to see if you can meet the 75-point score minimum. To gain points on the test, you will have to meet certain criteria. For example, having a valid certificate of sponsorship is worth 30 points. For an official test, you must choose from the list of approved tests and providers. 4. Apply for the Tier 2 work permit. You can only apply for your Tier 2 work permit online. Make sure you have your personal documentation, your employer's certificate of sponsorship, and proof that you meet the mandatory requirements of the points-based test. Method 2. Obtaining a temporary work permit. 1. Determine which worker category applies to you. Temporary workers fall under the Tier 5 work visa. The most common Tier 5 categories are A. Charity workers, B. Creative and sporting workers, C. Religious workers, D. Workers employed through government exchanges or international agreements, E. Young people sponsored by their home government taking part in the Youth Mobility Scheme. 2. Have a licensed sponsor issue a certificate of sponsorship. Your potential employer must first have an employer sponsorship license that allows them to hire foreign workers. 3. Take the Tier 5 points-based eligibility test. You will need to score a minimum of 50 points on the points assessment. Demonstrated competence with the English language and proof of a minimum of £1,600 in your personal bank account are mandatory components of the points-based test. 4. Apply for your Tier 5 work permit. The application for a Tier 5 work permit is only available online. You will need to have your personal documentation, proof that you meet the mandatory requirements of the points-based test, and your employer's certificate of sponsorship. That's all for today. Good luck for your application.